Good morning. I thought I would take some time today to go over some of the modifications I've done to my CT-90. Being crippled allows you to get a lot more stuff done around the house than you normally would have, or than I normally would have. I own 2 boats, 2 motorcycles, a motorhome, a Jeep, and trying to keep all that stuff going can be overwhelming sometimes, especially during the summer, because I'm usually out either in the boat camping or crabbing or prawning or fishing, or up in the mountains riding the motorcycle or with the Jeep. So I did manage to refit all of my crab pots and prawn pots and shrimp pots. I've got about 8 crab pots and about 6 or 7 prawn pots. I got those all fixed up, and got the being 62 years old, I had forgotten the length of the lines on each one of the pots, so I had to measure out a spot in the yard and paint some marks in the grass and label the bottoms of the buoys with the lengths of the ropes on them. In the past, I'd only had probably 50-foot ropes on them for the crab pots. The prawn pots have 400-foot ropes on them, so I didn't have to do much to that. I'll cover that more in a video later on. But I've gone up to about 100 foot, 125 feet on the crab pot ropes. So anyway, let's get to the CT-90. Some of the modifications I've done while being crippled is installed the LED headlight, which is a big improvement, and I believe I have the LED tail light and brake light installed. It's been a while, so I may have forgotten. Anyway, let me focus in here. So anyway, this helmet is my old helmet that I crashed in on the scooter, and I had the GoPro mount mounted on the top of that. It didn't really screw up the other helmet too bad. It's just mainly scratches on the face shield, and I bought another face shield to replace that. I'll let my girlfriend wear that helmet. One of the things I didn't like about that helmet, it's a modular helmet that has the flip down tinted visor and the flip up clear visor, along with the whole chin protector folds up out of the way. But one of the things I didn't like about that helmet was it didn't have the visor like this new one does to block the sun. And that really comes in handy. This is another helmet that has the flip down shaded visor inside and the clear visor, and it's also a modular helmet that the chin guard flips up and out of the way. I've taken to mounting the GoPro as close as I can to the chin mount. From some of the other videos I've seen, it's a lot better perspective when riding the dirt roads and trails to have a chin mount, because you can see the handlebars, the speedometer, the GPS, and the front wheel of the motorcycle, or anything else that you happen to be looking at the time, which makes it better. The last couple videos I did on my YouTube channel, I had the GoPro mounted on the handlebars, and that was kind of a boring view because it was just basically the road coming at you. So as you can see, I've mounted my cell phone on the handlebars, and I've also mounted my Garmin Montana 700i GPS on the handlebars, and this one comes with the SOS feature where you can activate a button and it transmits your position and any messages you need to send over the satellites. So that's kind of nice. When I'm out in the mountains and don't have reception, I'm able to send text messages with my location to friends and my girlfriend to let them know where I'm at. Down here, I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in. Let's see, let me go around over here. I'll zoom in on that. I've mounted a USB port on the handlebars for charging things. It's hooked into the headlight bucket in there. There's a fellow on the Honda CT-90 group. I can't remember his name right now, but I'll post his name here in the video. I've attempted to use that in the past. However, I think it requires something over 6 volts or 6 point something volts in order to activate. So it's really only good if you're traveling at a fairly high RPM over extended periods of time to charge stuff. I also carry a solar power pack for charging any of my equipment if I'm out on the trail for any extended length of time. I think I'm going to eliminate this handlebar mount for the GoPro. I have mounted one back here on the ass end of the bike so that I've got a view behind me. So I think that'll be kind of cool. And that, along with the new drone that follows me and avoids hitting the tree branches, should provide some pretty interesting video here in the future if I get a chance to go out this fall. But for sure everything will be ready by next summer. So I've also mounted a lock here on the back end of the bike that I can use to lock the bike up. I've always been kind of afraid when taking this thing up into the mountains and parking it somewhere, like if I hike into a hot springs or something like that, of people stealing stuff off of it or stealing the bike. These things have become so valuable now that it's a concern. This one has the auxiliary gas tank on it, and I've seen these things going for $200 or $300 a piece. So even parts off of this thing are pretty expensive. I've replaced one turn signal, just the lens. I had a cracked lens, and I noticed the other day that my left brake lever is keeping my brake light on until I fiddle with it, so I'm going to have to lubricate that cable. Around this side, behind the battery compartment, I have put a tool kit in there and a tire patch kit, and of course the registration to the motorcycle. I forgot, on this side over here I've also mounted, I don't know if you can see it in there, but I've mounted a manual tire pump that I can use if I get a flat tire out on the trail. So far on this I've changed the rear tire to a different one just because I had a flat and it had some cracks in the sidewalls. The front tire on this has still got pretty good tread. I know it shows a few cracks, and as easy as the front wheel is to pull off and on, I'll probably change that. I've got the other tire in the garage. This LED headlight, I want to say again, is really a big improvement. And it's lower voltage, allows your battery to maintain the charge a little better. So let's see, one of the projects that I really want to do next probably is I want to hook up a pigtail from the battery to be able to just plug in the charger without having to take the side cover off and undoing the bullet connectors for the battery inside and all that. So I do have that. It came with the charger that I got. I'll flash a picture of the charger here in just a second. And that should make it easier to charge out on the trail, or I mean, you know, at home or at the motorhome at camp or something like that. So this battery charger works pretty good. 6 volt, 12 volt, different modes. What I found is that you need to plug it into the power supply first before you hook it to a battery. And when you do that, then you click the mode button to select whatever mode you want from those lower 5 levels. And then when you get the mode you want, you just hook it up to the battery and off she goes. Works pretty good. Couple clips here, pretty decent clips, and then it's got the plug up here that you can plug in to hook pigtails to your battery and just charge it without having to take the side cover off. It's worked pretty good so far. The only complaint really I have is that really the only 6-volt option there is fast 6-volt. It takes about an hour or so for it to charge it up, but it seems to work fine. Okay, I decided to lubricate this rear brake cable. I noticed the other day that when I used the rear brake, hand brake, that it kept the brake light on until I fidgeted with it back and forth. So what I'm going to try is this cable lubricator that I bought off Amazon. I actually bought it for my boat, one of the cables for my boat, but the cable was too large. The end was too large to fit through this tool, so this should work out really good for this cable here. I've already pumped a bunch of brake free through it, and now I'm going to use some of this cable lube and squirt that down in there. So it looks like this worked. I'm going to disconnect it and reconnect the cable, work it a little bit, see how it turns out. I'll let you know. One thing I forgot to mention on the last segment of the video is that I also have replaced the exhaust pipe on this. I found one on eBay and it seemed to fit really good. I noticed when I've also got a spare cotter pin stuck right here in case I need one. But I noticed in the beginning that I was getting a lot of rust coming out of this exhaust pipe. And that was just because I hadn't really ridden it any great distance. I was just starting it once every 3 days just to keep everything fluid. And after I took that ride up to Baker Lake, it seemed to get rid of most of the rust that was in there, and I was just pretty much getting black on the end of the pipe. So I'm happy about that. I didn't want this one to rust out like the old one did. So anyway, I'll disconnect this rascal and hook it back up. All right, so I'm going to take her for a little test spin, see how the rear brake works, see if I need to adjust it anymore. It needs to be a little tighter. It's not really stopping me. Front one's fine. light goes off now, so that's a good thing. Yeah, I need to adjust this a little tighter. Probably could use a new set of brake shoes here eventually. I'll cinch that up. Should be good to ride. Anyway, that's just kind of an update on mine, and I'll give you more updates as time goes on. Thanks for watching.